60 minutes, that is all it takes to create a turning point, to change the course of a life, to alter the way the future unfolds. We often imagine that transformation requires monumental timeframes, that success is carved out over decades, that clarity arrives only after years of searching. Yet the truth is far simpler and far more empowering. 1 hour, dedicated with absolute intent, can do more for a person than a lifetime of waiting for the right moment. There is something remarkable about time when it is condensed into focus. Most people drift through hours distracted, scattered, lost in the noise of the world. They spend minutes scrolling endlessly, worrying about things they cannot control, replaying the past or fearing the future. But when one decides to claim an hour fully, to shut out the distractions, to silence the noise, to center entirely on a task, a dream, or a choice, that hour expands. It becomes larger than itself. It transforms into a catalyst for growth, into a spark that ignites everything that follows. History is filled with moments that prove this truth. An hour of courage has ended wars, begun revolutions, sparked inventions, and changed lives. An hour spent in reflection has given clarity to those who felt lost. An hour of resilience has pulled people from the edge of despair back into hope. These turning points were not the result of endless time, but of focused time, of a decision to treat 60 minutes as sacred, valuable, and powerful. Think of the way a single decision can alter everything. Someone walks into a meeting for just an hour, and their life changes forever because they dared to show up fully. Someone spends an hour writing words that later inspire millions. Someone takes an hour to sit with themselves and realize they need to walk away from what has been holding them back for years. These are not abstract ideas. They are real, tangible reminders that time is not about quantity, it is about quality. 1 hour lived with purpose is more valuable than 100 hours wasted in hesitation. The challenge is that many people underestimate the power of an hour. They look at 60 minutes and see it as small, insignificant, hardly enough to make a difference. They believe real transformation requires vast resources, endless schedules, and years of preparation. But this belief is what keeps them stagnant. Because when you dismiss the potential of the present hour, you dismiss the very building block of all progress. Every empire was built hour by hour. Every masterpiece was created through small pockets of dedicated time. Every dream realized was achieved by someone who refused to underestimate what could be done in just 60 minutes. 60 minutes of discipline can lay the foundation for a habit that reshapes a life. If you spend 1 hour a day learning, in a year you will have mastered something that once felt impossible. If you spend 1 hour a day exercising, in a year your body will be transformed. If you spend 1 hour a day working on your passion, in a year you will have created momentum that propels you forward beyond what you ever thought possible. The math is simple, but the results are extraordinary. The key is to honor the smallness of the hour while believing in its vastness. It is also important to recognize that the value of an hour is not only in external progress, but in internal transformation. 1 hour spent in honest reflection can bring clarity that years of distraction never provided. 1 hour of meditation, journaling, or simply sitting with your own thoughts can untangle knots of confusion that once seemed unbreakable. The power of 60 minutes is not just in the actions taken, but in the awareness gained. That awareness becomes the compass by which future actions are guided, and suddenly, everything shifts. People often wait for the perfect time, believing that tomorrow or next year will be better. They say they need more money, more knowledge, more confidence, more support. And while waiting, their hours slip by unused, wasted in hesitation. But the perfect time does not exist. What exists is this hour, the one you hold in your hands right now. The choice to use it with courage is what creates perfection. The truth is that everything you are waiting for begins the moment you decide to claim an hour fully, without excuses, without delay. There are countless examples of lives transformed by a single hour of decision. The hour someone said yes to an opportunity even though fear was screaming no. The hour someone walked out of a situation that no longer honored their worth. The hour someone began writing the first page of a book, recording the first note of a song, sketching the first line of a design. That hour did not create the finished masterpiece, but it created the momentum, and momentum is what carries people from where they are to where they want to be. The beauty of this truth is that it is universal. No matter who you are, where you come from, or what resources you have, you are given the same 60 minutes in every hour as everyone else. Time is the great equalizer. The difference lies in how you choose to use it. Some squander it on distractions, others invest it in growth. Some let it slip by unnoticed, others seize it with intention. And those who seize it discover that they have far more power than they ever realized. Even in moments of despair, 60 minutes can be the difference between giving up and holding on. Many people who felt broken have found healing in a single hour of reaching out, of talking, of seeking help. Many who felt hopeless have discovered new light in an hour of connection, of prayer, of inspiration. 60 minutes can change the state of your heart, your mind, your spirit. It can be the bridge between darkness and light, between doubt and belief, between quitting and continuing. There is something profoundly liberating about realizing that you do not have to change everything all at once. You do not have to figure out your entire life today. You only have to dedicate the next hour. That hour becomes the building block, the small step, the seed planted in fertile soil, and like every seed, it grows with time into something greater than itself. But it all begins with 1 hour, one choice, one moment of courage. The irony is that people waste hours daily without realizing their value. They complain they do not have time, yet they lose countless hours to distraction. They believe transformation is out of reach, yet they give away the very resource that could create it. When you start treating each hour as sacred, everything changes. You stop waiting. You stop procrastinating. You start moving, creating, becoming. You realize that 60 minutes is not small. It is a universe of possibility waiting to be claimed. Every great story has its turning point, and often that turning point is nothing more than an hour, the hour someone stopped doubting themselves, the hour someone dared to act, the hour someone decided to believe. You are never more than 60 minutes away from a different story. You may not see the full change instantly, but you will feel the shift. And once the shift begins, it carries you forward, reshaping not just 1 hour, but every hour that follows. So the next time you feel overwhelmed by the enormity of your dreams or the weight of your challenges, remember this: you do not need to solve everything today. You do not need to have it all figured out. You only need to give yourself one powerful hour, 1 hour of courage, 1 hour of focus, 1 hour of intent, and that hour will begin the transformation. It will not finish the journey, but it will begin it, and beginning is often the hardest, most important step of all. 60 minutes can redefine your life because it reminds you that transformation is always closer than you think. It is not years away. It is not hidden in the distant future. It is right here, right now, waiting for you to decide that this hour matters. And when you claim it, when you dedicate it, when you honor it with focus and courage, everything can change. Momentum is one of the most powerful forces in life. It is what turns ordinary effort into extraordinary results, what transforms hesitation into action, and what takes a single step and multiplies it into a journey. Yet momentum never begins with giant leaps or monumental changes. It begins with small, consistent steps that may feel almost insignificant in the moment, but gradually build into unstoppable movement. The world celebrates grand achievements, but those achievements are built upon the quiet persistence of countless small actions. When a person decides to take a step, even a small one, something shifts. It may not be visible immediately, but internally the foundation for progress is laid. That single step whispers to the mind and heart, I am moving forward, and once movement begins, it becomes easier to continue. Just as a ball begins rolling slowly before it gathers speed, so too does life respond to the decision to act, however modest the action may seem. Too often, people wait for a perfect beginning. They believe they must be fully prepared before they start, fully equipped before they move, fully confident before they act. But waiting for perfection is another form of paralysis. The truth is that perfection never arrives, and readiness is often created in the act of moving. The small step taken today is infinitely more powerful than the grand step imagined but never acted upon. By honoring the small beginnings, momentum is created, and that momentum has the ability to carry a person further than they could have imagined at the start. Consider how habits form. One does not become disciplined overnight. Discipline is built through the simple act of showing up consistently, even if only for a few minutes each day. Reading a page a day leads to books read by the end of the year. Writing a paragraph a day leads to chapters completed. Exercising for 15 minutes daily leads to a body transformed. The magic is not in the enormity of the action, but in the consistency of the small steps that stack upon one another. These small steps are what awaken momentum, and momentum once awakened rarely stops. Think of water dripping onto stone. One drop of water may seem powerless, but over time, the persistence of those drops wears away rock. Similarly, small actions repeated consistently carve pathways to success. The step may feel too small to matter in the moment, but momentum does not require size, it requires direction and persistence. The accumulation of small steps creates an energy that begins to pull a person forward, making the next step easier than the last. Momentum has a psychological power as well. The human mind thrives on progress. Even the smallest sign of advancement triggers a sense of achievement that fuels further effort. It is like climbing a mountain. The peak may feel unreachable when viewed from the bottom, but with every step, the summit feels closer. Each step is a reminder that progress is happening, that movement is real, that success is not a dream but a direction. And as that realization grows, so does the energy to keep moving forward. There is also resilience in momentum. When small steps become habitual, they carry a person through the difficult days when motivation is absent. A runner who trains daily may not feel inspired every morning, but the habit, the momentum, carries them forward. A writer who writes consistently does not wait for inspiration. They build on the momentum of their practice. In this way, momentum protects against the inconsistency of emotion and ensures that progress continues even when the heart wavers. One of the most common mistakes people make is underestimating the value of their small steps. They dismiss a short workout, a few lines written, a single hour of learning, thinking it is too little to matter. Yet these are the very steps that create transformation. A single seed planted may not look like much, but it contains within it the possibility of a forest. A small step, repeated and nurtured, contains within it the possibility of greatness. To dismiss small steps is to dismiss the very building blocks of progress. Momentum also has a compounding effect. Just as money invested grows through compound interest, so too do small actions compound into results far greater than their individual value. 1 hour of learning builds knowledge that enhances future learning. 1 step of courage builds confidence that fuels bigger acts of courage. 1 small success builds faith in one's ability to succeed again. Momentum compounds effort until the once small steps have created enormous achievements. There are countless examples of momentum changing lives. The musician who practiced for just an hour each day eventually filled concert halls. The entrepreneur who started with 1 small project eventually built an empire. The student who studied a little every day eventually became a leader in their field. None of them leapt instantly to greatness. They walked there 1 small step at a time, powered by momentum that refused to stop once it was set in motion. Momentum is also contagious. 1 person's small steps inspire others to take their own. A family member sees the transformation of discipline and follows. A friend notices the consistency of effort and feels motivated. Momentum spreads, creating a ripple effect far beyond the individual who began it. What starts as a single step in one life can spark countless steps in others. But momentum requires patience. Small steps do not yield immediate visible results, and this is where many falter. They want instant success, instant transformation, instant recognition. When they do not see immediate results, they give up, not realizing that momentum was already building beneath the surface. Just as seeds sprout unseen before breaking through the soil, progress is often invisible before it becomes undeniable. Those who trust the process, who continue taking small steps even when results are hidden, are the ones who eventually experience breakthroughs that others mistake for overnight success. Momentum is about trusting that direction matters more than speed. Moving forward slowly is infinitely better than standing still. Each step, however small, is proof that you are no longer where you once were. And the beauty of momentum is that once it gathers, speed increases naturally. What felt difficult at first becomes easier. What seemed impossible becomes routine. The steps that once required courage become habits, and those habits create strength. Before long, the progress that once felt slow becomes rapid, almost effortless. It is also worth noting that momentum does not erase struggle. There will always be obstacles, setbacks, and challenges, but momentum provides the strength to overcome them. A moving train may face resistance, but its speed carries it through. A person with momentum may stumble, but their forward motion allows them to rise and continue. Momentum does not guarantee a smooth journey, but it guarantees a continuous one. And in life, continuity is the difference between dreams that fade and dreams that thrive. In every area of life, health, relationships, career, personal growth, momentum is the unseen force behind lasting change. A healthy body is not created by one intense workout, but by many consistent workouts over time. A strong relationship is not built by one grand gesture, but by countless small acts of love and understanding. A successful career is not created by one big opportunity, but by years of small, disciplined steps toward growth. In all these areas, momentum transforms effort into results and turns persistence into success. The message is simple yet profound. Start small, start now. Do not wait for the perfect plan, the perfect time, or the perfect resources. Take one step, however small, and let that step awaken momentum. The first step may not carry you far, but it will carry you forward, and forward is the only direction that matters. Once you are moving, momentum will do the rest, pulling you toward possibilities greater than you ever imagined. Life is a series of moments, each one presenting a choice. Some of these choices feel grand and life-defining, while others seem small, almost invisible, blending into the ordinary rhythm of the day. Yet every choice, no matter how small, carries weight. Every decision is a thread that weaves into the fabric of a future that has not yet been written. The present moment is the only space where those choices can be made. The past is unchangeable, the future uncertain, but the present is alive, breathing, offering its power to anyone willing to recognize it. So often, people underestimate the influence of the moment they are living in right now. They think tomorrow will be better, that next week will provide more clarity, that next year will finally bring the right opportunity. But waiting for the perfect future blinds them to the possibilities of the present. The future does not exist without the choices made today, and tomorrow will not improve unless today is seized. The present moment is the gateway, the point of creation, the birthplace of every transformation. Every great achievement began with a single choice made in the present. The choice to try when failure seemed certain. The choice to stand when it would have been easier to sit. The choice to speak when silence would have been safer. These decisions were not made in some distant, ideal future. They were made in the raw, imperfect reality of now. And in choosing courage over fear, action over hesitation, growth over comfort, lives were changed. There is immense freedom in realizing the power that rests in this moment. No matter what has happened before, no matter how many mistakes have been made, the present is always untouched, always new. It is like a blank page waiting to be written on. The weight of the past does not dictate the choice of now unless it is allowed to. The fears of the future do not control this moment unless permission is given. The present is a gift because it is unclaimed until you claim it, undefined until you define it. Every person holds the ability to make a choice in this moment that can redirect the entire course of their life. One decision to walk away from what no longer serves them. One decision to begin something that has been delayed for years. One decision to believe they are worthy of more. These choices may not look monumental on the surface, but they carry with them the power to alter everything that comes after. A river changes its direction at the point where it bends, and a life changes direction at the point where a choice is made. The challenge is that many people give away the power of the present to the weight of excuses. They tell themselves it is not the right time, that they are not ready, that conditions are not perfect. Yet conditions will never be perfect. Readiness is not something to wait for, it is something created in the act of choosing. The present moment may not look ideal, but it is enough. It is always enough because it is real, it is available, and it is all that can ever truly be acted upon. When someone chooses with courage in the present, they create momentum. A single choice leads to a single action, which then leads to another, and soon a rhythm is born. Choices build upon each other, stacking like bricks until a foundation is created. And that foundation supports the weight of bigger dreams, bolder risks, greater visions. But it all begins with the choice made now, the willingness to honor the present as powerful instead of dismissing it as small. The present moment is also where resilience is born. Life is unpredictable, filled with obstacles and setbacks, but the choice to rise, to continue, to keep going is always made in the present. Yesterday's strength cannot be borrowed, and tomorrow's courage cannot be guaranteed. It is only today, in this moment, that the decision to persevere can be made. Every act of resilience is simply the choice to keep moving forward right now, regardless of how heavy the past feels or how uncertain the future seems. What makes the present so powerful is its intimacy. It is immediate, alive, undeniable. You can feel the air in your lungs, the ground beneath your feet, the weight of your thoughts. The present demands attention. And when you truly pay attention, you see possibilities that were hidden before. In a conversation, the present allows you to hear what is really being said, not what you assume. In a challenge, the present allows you to focus on the next step instead of drowning in the enormity of the whole journey. In an opportunity, the present allows you to act instead of hesitating until the chance has passed. Choice in the present moment also creates identity. Each decision shapes not only what you do but who you become. The choice to be honest shapes integrity. The choice to be kind shapes character. The choice to be disciplined shapes resilience. Identity is not created by accident. It is created through choices made consistently in the present. And as identity strengthens, so does the ability to face the future with confidence. The most liberating truth is that no matter how many wrong choices have been made in the past, the present offers redemption. At any moment, you can decide to begin again. At any moment, you can choose differently. The weight of regret cannot erase the possibility of now. This moment is untouched by yesterday's mistakes. It is always fresh, always available, always powerful. The decision to forgive, to grow, to change, to love again, all of it happens now, not later. There is also an urgency to the present moment, because it is fleeting. Time moves quickly, and moments once past cannot be reclaimed. The choice you make now is the only one guaranteed, because the next moment is not promised. This is not meant to instill fear but to awaken awareness. To waste the present is to waste the most valuable resource you will ever have. To honor it is to honor life itself. Consider the many people who have waited too long, who believed they had endless time to make a change. They planned for tomorrow, for someday, for later, but later never arrived. Opportunities slipped through their fingers because they did not act in the now. Dreams faded because they were always postponed. The tragedy of their stories is not that they lacked talent or opportunity, but that they gave away the power of their present moments to hesitation. On the other hand, there are those who seized the present, who acted even when uncertain, who chose even when afraid. They are not braver than others. They simply understood that courage is nothing more than choosing to act now despite fear. They understood that clarity comes not before action, but through it. They understood that the present was their only true possession, and they treated it as precious. Their choices shaped futures far greater than they could have imagined at the time. Every life, no matter how complex, can be reduced to a chain of present moments and the choices made within them. Each moment builds upon the last, creating a story that reflects those decisions. The beauty of this truth is that the story can change at any time. A single choice in this moment can begin a new chapter, can redirect the narrative, can breathe new life into a story that once felt stagnant. The pen is always in your hand, and the present is always the page waiting for your words. So when you feel overwhelmed by the weight of the past or anxious about the uncertainty of the future, return to the present. Ask yourself what choice you can make right now that aligns with the life you want to create. It may be small, it may be simple, but it will matter, because every choice made now creates the foundation for what comes next. And when you stack enough choices, moment by moment, you create a life that reflects your courage, your values, your vision. The power of choice in the present moment is not a distant philosophy. It is a practical truth available to everyone. It is the ability to choose how to respond instead of react, to choose growth instead of fear, to choose action instead of hesitation. It is the reminder that right now, in this breath, in this heartbeat, you hold the power to shape what comes after. And there is no greater power than that.